We know that Jesus won all the graces for our redemption by his passion and death. But he is the one that has chosen to give Mary all those graces to dispense. My name is Father Joachim. This is Marian Maximalism. In what sense is Mary mediatrix? She is mediatrix in two ways. First of all, Mary is mediatrix of all graces by her cooperation in the Incarnation. Mary freely and willingly cooperated in giving the Redeemer to the world. If there were no Mary, there would be no Jesus. Instructed by the angel as to the person and the task of her Son, she freely assented to be the Mother of God. Behold the handmaid of the Lord. Be it done unto me according to thy word. The incarnation of the Son of God and the consequent redemption of the whole world by Christ's atonement and death on the cross were all dependent on Mary's consent. At that outstanding moment in salvation history, Mary represented humanity. At the Annunciation, Pope Leo XIII simply tells us, in a true sense, Mary spoke for the whole human race. This is the first kind of mediation. Mary is also mediatrix of all graces by her intercession in heaven. Mary cooperates in the application of divine grace to mankind by her prayerful intercession and by channeling the graces Christ won for mankind on the cross. Always, of course, Mary's intercession and communication are always subordinate to her Son. The spirituality of St. Maximilian Kolbe is based directly on this truth. The Immaculate Virgin Mary is the mediatrix of all graces. That is the first premise of his Marian thinking. If it were not so, Maximilian explains, all our strength and effort in the spiritual life would be in vain. In other words, our spiritual life depends on grace. Second, the Blessed Virgin Mary is mediatrix of all graces that any human being receives, believer or unbeliever, Christian or non-Christian, without exception. Third, our life of grace depends on the nearness of grace that we have to the soul of the Immaculate Mother of God. The more Marian we are, the more assurance we have of obtaining grace from Mary's Son through his mother. That deserves to be memorized. Fourth, the nearer a person's soul is to the Blessed Virgin Mary's soul, the more pure that person's soul becomes, and becomes freer from sin, holier, and deepened in his faith, growing in understanding and firmly accepting God's revealed truth. In other words, holiness determines clarity. Holiness determines intelligibility. Holiness determines certitude in the faith which we already possess. Our faith will grow in the measure of our holiness, approximating at any given moment in time the holiness of Christ's Mother. Correspondingly, the greater becomes that person's virtue, theological and moral. This is a unique insight into Marian spirituality. Our relationship with Mary, mediatrix, is normative. Depending on how closely our life of grace approximates Mary's at any given point in our lives, she then becomes the standard of how much grace we will receive. We see Mary's mediation in the wedding feast at Cana, the second luminous mystery. She was concerned for that newlywed couple. She's concerned for all of her children. And to imagine she can go before the throne of God and mention us by name. She's our mother. You know how concerned mothers are for their children. She will help us. Our Lady asked one thing at Fatima. Pray the rosary every day for world peace. Now think the world could use some peace today. Listen to your mother. Pray the rosary.